It was Saturday comic book hunting. I went to the flea market, so I slathered on the sunscreen and I picked up a couple of comic books. Nothing huge, but a nice little surprise when I got home. Let's take a look at what I picked up and why. Up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Comic book community, Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that great stuff. Follow us on other social media, Instagram, Bronzeville_comics, whatnot, Bronzeville_comics. We do sales every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Also doing some weekday pop-up shows this summer. If you are not yet signed on to whatnot, there is a link in the description below. You can click on there. Sign up, you'll get $10 off your first purchase, regardless of who it's with. It doesn't have to be with me. Also, in the description is a link to my eBay store and my email. So, it was a really hot. It was more humid than hot, but it was a sweaty morning at the flea market. So I decided to go out and just hunt some comic books because why not? It's, you know, kind of gives me something to do, gets me out of the house. And, I also got some stuff in the mail. So we'll do those first. I got 3 packages. And I like this package because the Gemini mailer better than the bubble mailer or the random Target box. Because I'm never sure how well protected in the Target box the books are. So I'm expecting... I know I got one. Hopefully it's the Gemini mailer one. I got a pretty good deal on what looked to be a nice book. It's potentially for the PC, in that it's potentially an upgrade, and hopefully it's a high enough quality book, and I thought it was from the pictures online, to send in for grading. I don't know if it's this one or not, and this is I think this might be eBay as opposed to whatnot. Yeah, this is eBay, and I just kind of yeah, this was one of those ones where I'm like, ah, that's a good deal. And I just couldn't, for whatever reason, I couldn't pass it up. Pictures looked nice. The price was right. I forget if it was an auction or a buy it now. And I can save a Gemini mailer. Yeah, this looks reasonably sharp. I already have I think like a 9.4 of this book. This looks pretty sharp, despite the fact that you got to fanboy collectibles and comics. It is Ms. Marvel 18. This is the first full appearance of Mystique. Now, I've said this before. Mystique, I think, right now is a difficult character to spec on for one big reason. Her power set is exactly the same as the Skrulls. She's a shapeshifter. The other reason is we've seen a lot of Mystique in the Fox X-Men films. So I don't know how much more these books have to grow, but I thought that was a gradable copy of a good book. There are actually 3 Mystique books in that Ms. Marvel run. There are 2 cameos, and then this is the first time we see her in her, I guess, natural form, the blue-skinned form. So then there's this. This is, I believe, there's cardboard around it, but it is a bubble mailer. And there are multiple books in here. So let's check that out. See what came. Oops. Ah, come on. I'm just trying to put this in this garbage can. It doesn't quite fit. There we go. What the? Did I order multiple things? Oh, they threw in a couple of books. Okay, so I'll show you the throw-ins. I have to take a closer look at these. Is this? I don't think this is a key. Actually, this is a key, and it's a book I've been looking out for. I highlighted it on one of my recent videos, and it's kind of related to something I picked up at the flea market. It's Superboy number 195. And this, it's one of the, as a Legion backup story. New Legion Superhero Saga. And it's one of the First appearances. This is the first appearance of Erg 1, as he's referred to in this book, who later becomes Wildfire, who I've said before was one of like the preeminent Legion members in the 70s and into the 80s. So, you know, again, I've been trying to pick up a lot of these Legion first appearances, and I just want to take this book out to take a little bit of closer look at it. It's in Mylar, so... yeah, the book doesn't want to come out. Well, there we go. Actually, that's weird. A little bit of the corner. Yeah, there's some stickiness here. But actually, that's a really nice copy. It's got a little bit of issues up at the top, but a little bit of something on the back, but pretty glossy still. So this was a throw-in. There were 2 throw-ins, and they're both first appearances, and they're all DC. So that is really appreciated. That's awesome. So there's that. That's a great book to have. Glad to have that in the collection. And then this I think I have, but in lower grade. It's Brave and the Bold 78. It's the first appearance of Copperhead. Who is that guy? If he were a Marvel villain, he'd be a member of the Serpent Society, but he's not. He's a DC villain. Was one of the founding members of the Secret Society of Supervillains in the 70s. Was a character that's been used. And then this was the book I bought. So this particular book, I picked up. I paid like $54 for this book, and I got the other 2 as throw-ins, which was great. Justice League of America 75. This is the first appearance of the second Black Canary, kind of. It can use a press. Hopefully, with a press, you really want this book graded to be at least like a 7.5. So there is some stuff going on up here that can be improved with a press. And a couple of creasing. I don't know if you can see it in the light. It's hard. You know, the black cover makes it tougher. Some bends there. So I'm going to take a look now. One of the interesting things is I have like a couple of copies of this already. I got this. I'm pretty sure I got this when I was a kid, when I was collecting back issues of Justice League. And I have to go back through that portion of my collection. I have no idea what kind of condition those books are in, because I picked them up, 40 plus years ago. And at the time, this was not a key, because this was not the first appearance of the second Black Canary. That didn't happen until the early 80s. I'm going to say like 1982-ish. Basically, storyline, Black Canary premiered in Flash Comics, became a member of the Justice Society in the late 40s towards the end of the run, replacing Johnny Thunder. Replaced him in his, would guest starred in his feature in Flash Comics, then supplanted him from that feature and took the feature over herself, and then took his place in the JSA. So when the Justice Society, as being from Earth 2, was rebooted in the 1960s, starting with some of the Flash crossovers and then the annual Justice League Justice Society crossovers, the Black Canary is one of the members that often appeared. Because with Wonder Woman, she was the only other female member of the JSA. So then what happened is, in the JLA JSA crossover that just preceded this, I think it was issues 72 and 73, but don't hold me to that. Her husband was killed by the Aquarius, who was the antagonist of the story. And in this issue, she decided she was going to leave Earth 2 because she didn't have any other ties there, and come to Earth 1 and leave the Justice Society and end up joining the Justice League. And there was a whole thing that went on throughout, like her appearance a few issues later, where there's a whole romance between her and Green Arrow, which continued for years. Even though she did have a dalliance with Batman. They did share a kiss in an issue of Justice League. But she became a regular member of the JSA, was in many of those Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil stories of Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and became quite a popular character. At the time, we just thought it was the same character who had debuted in the 1940s and was continuing just on a different Earth. But it turned out they retconned it, and it turned out that she had a daughter, and the daughter was held in suspended animation and then changed places with the mother. And nobody noticed that the Black Canary character went from... Oh, and she also developed the Sonic Scream. She just had, like, jujitsu moves. Originally, no superpowers. The Sonic Scream from her encounter with the villain who killed her husband. But it turns out it was the daughter who had superpowers, and nobody noticed that, you know, the mom was replaced by the daughter. Go figure. Anyway, that's my story of Justice League. So that was really cool in terms of getting those extra books. And the irony of it is, Justice League of America is the title that I've actively collected for years, since childhood. It was the first comic that I collected, that I got every issue every month and continued that. But I have 0 slabbed copies of the original run of Justice League of America. Then there's one more box, and this is... I'm not sure what's in this. This is from Whatnot, because it has the Shippo label, but it's like just kind of shoved in it. I'm a little nervous. No, I don't think it matters. Just kind of shoved in a random, like, Target box. And I don't remember. I have that Whatnot amnesia, so I don't remember exactly what I bought, but yeah, this is making me nervous because I'm hoping this is... Oh my goodness. There's a slab in here. Now, okay, let's just make sure. I'm going to look at this. Let's make sure the slab is intact. Astoundingly, it has suffered no damage. But we'll get to that in a moment, because actually it's a pretty... Well, there's a story behind it. Not a terribly interesting story, but it's a story. I've been telling a lot of stories here today, and I haven't even gotten to the books I picked up today. I'm still in the mail call. That whole Black Canary thing, I'm, you know, we'll give you your history lesson. You didn't know you were going to get one today, but you're getting one. You might get others. I don't know. I'm actually pretty excited about getting that Superboy book. Because that's a book that I... Like, when I go to shows and stuff, I did a previous video, and I'll put a link to it at the end, of the Legion of Superheroes first appearances, and that's one of them. That's one of the later ones. And, so, happy about that. Oh, I picked up... This guy's show. This is a little bit lower grade, but I forget what I paid for it. I got this Incredible Hulk 256 first appearance of Saber. We know that we're seeing this character in New World Order. And I got this Tales of Green Lantern Corps #1. This is the first appearance of somebody Mint Hunter would remember much better than I who the first appearance is. There are a lot of first appearances in Green Lantern books because there are a lot of members of the Green Lantern Corps. But in that Whatnot stream, I won the giveaway. And this was a book that was a lot hotter several months ago, but it does have spec potential. And it is Wonder Man #1, 9.8 white pages, giveaway. That is so awesome. That I'm really happy to have that. That is a cool book. I've picked up a few of these. I might even have a couple in like my potential going to CGC boxes. Now the value of this has dropped. I think just because the supply has increased so much since the TV show was announced. But there is a TV show coming. I think. Who knows what's coming in terms of media with the potential actors joining the writers on strike. But that I thought was a giveaway. I got that for free. I'm really happy about that. And I'm really glad because I saw this. That Target box was kind of crunched a little bit and there was no room. There was bubble wrap around the middle of the book, but not at the top or bottom. And that top and bottom was touching the edge of the boxes. Anyone who's bought any slabs from me knows that's not how I ship slabs. But yeah, made me nervous. Not the worst shipping I've had in a slab. They $500 book I got in a bubble mailer that probably could have used a CPR. I just need to do a PR because it was cracked to death. Did not really last. So let's take a look at what I picked up at the flea market. I was just going around. Again, nothing huge. So there was one vendor that just had like something sticking out of, didn't have any comics, but I saw this sticking out of a box. Said how much? Said $5. This is Gladstone in the 90s. Did these Walt Disney, these Carl Barks compendiums. So this is a magazine-sized, kind of prestige format reprint of Carl Barks stories. Those are really good reads. I'll throw that in a Disney box. Then, when it's just a couple of bucks, I think it was probably like $2. I always, you flip it through, you see Archies. It's always worth grabbing a bikini Archie. Then, Superman, Action Comics 701, DC Universe logo. I looked for others. Usually they come in threes because that's how they came originally, but, this was probably had been shuffled many times. It wasn't from the original collector. Now, here's something. So I picked this up randomly because I don't even know if I needed this for my ISIS run, to be honest. I've been low-key just, dollar bin stuff. It's not a large run of comics. I remember the TV show from the 70s, but I never collected the comic book. So this is ISIS number 6. And there was some movement on the character. I don't think I have this in the PC. Anyway, when I picked it up, because it was unbagged and boarded from whoever I got it from. And I'm like, So I picked it up, and it has a Mark Jewelers insert. And this is, somebody had asked me, do you see many in DC? This is from 1977. I've seen more Marvel than DC. I don't know the story on that. That is probably something worth doing research into. The one of the others I've seen for DC is I have an Action Comics 521 First Vixen in a Mark Jewelers that I think I have an 8.5 maybe. So the question is that worth getting graded? I'm not sure, just because of Mark Jewelers. Then I picked this. This is Astonishing X-Men 9. 3 and 6 were gone from the box. This is the first appearance of Danger. There had been some speculation of that character appearing in the Deadpool 3 movie. I think that was just people extrapolating. Then I picked up this Earth 2 number 25. This is the first cover appearance of Val Zod. There was no 19, but there was 26, his second cover where he's fighting the Earth 2 Superman. Michael B. Jordan was attached to doing an Earth 2, like a Val Zod project. I'm sorry. Who knows what's come of that with what's going on with Warner Brothers. If they're even still have shop open in a few months. But I picked those up, and I'm looking, maybe a press can get the 25 to a 9.8. Then we talk about Legion first appearances. I had picked one of these up recently also. 226, first appearance of Dawn Star with a great cover appearance. And then I picked this up. Action Comics 457, this controversial cover. And it's just kind of creepy. Like, I don't know if it's Al 48 level creepy, but kind of this boy lying in bed and Superman taking off his clothes behind him. I'm thinking, and I don't know who did the cover. I'm thinking they didn't have anything nefarious in mind, unlike some Archie artists. This was an interesting pickup. It's beat to heck. It's like, the cover's coming off and everything. It's barely attached. $5 though. Spectacular Spider-Man #1, the magazine from 1968. There are only 2 issues of this, so I thought this was really cool because you never see this in the wild. I never have, unless it's on somebody's wall. And then I think it was the same vendor had 2 issues of the Phantom from King Comics. This is issue 18 and 21. 18 is actually, I think, the first King Comics issue. And there are people who collect the Phantom. And then, was it the same? I think this was a different vendor. Ghost Stories. I think this is number 22 from 1966. Adele Silver Age horror book. So that is a fun pickup. That'll probably be available on a horror night. And then this book I picked up, there was another vendor I just picked up 2 books from. Yeah. They had like the books almost like in these big floppy, like, freezer bags, kind of very, very thin plastic material and kind of taped. But I picked up Superboy 172 just because it was pretty high grade and it's a Neil Adams cover. I think this is like an 8. So that was pretty good to find. And then I picked this up. This is not as high grade. It's got a stain on the top. Batman. Now, it's a Whitman variant, right? Which means you look at it, you have no idea what the friggin' issue number is, because instead of where the issue number should be, you get this stupid looking Whitman logo. And you get the Whitman logo again over here instead of DC. I mean, there are people like, ooh, Whitman variant. I don't like Whitman variants, specifically for DC, because I don't like the look, and you don't know what the issue number is. This is issue 316, The Origin of Crazy Quilt. Then there was a guy, he had mostly dollar books. I think that's what the rest of the pile I have here is. But I picked up this. He had this actually for $5, which, considering the rest of the stuff I had, was fine. The Marvel Illustrated swimsuit issue. Okay, if you're a fan of that. Then everything was $1. 194 X-Men. This Tales from the Crypt reprint. It's a really sharp copy of Punisher Warzone #1. And then Secret Wars 9, 6, and 5. None of the keys. But still, one of these, I forget which one it is really sharp. I think it's number 5. Is really high grade. So, for $1, can't let those go by. Aliens, this is the second miniseries, issue number 2, volume 2, issue 2. That's also a pretty sharp copy. I told you about Bikini Archies. Yep. Archie moving in there. And then these had price stickers on them. And I said, are these also $1? He said, yeah. I'm like, okay. I got enough of these, but I'll take them. The three different covers of X-Men 1, including the wraparound. The Magneto one is really high grade. That could be a 9.8. That might get submitted to CGC. It would be in a 9.8 pre-screen because you only want that in a 9.8. And then there's one last guy. The guy with dollars had like maybe 5 boxes on the floor. I was going through them, and I had to crouch down, and I was sweating by that time, and I was running out of water as well. So one last guy flipped through. Alien Worlds #1. I think these were $2 each. Didn't have a lot. It was mostly Drek. And then this, it was a newsstand of A Next #1. There is, when I got home, there's like some water damage on the top. So that was the flea market. I wasn't done yet because, heck, there's always more comics to find. I went to Streetside Anthony's, and he was having a sale. So I got back in the car, turned the AC on full blast, drank the last of the water in my bottle, and drove up to the Bronx because it's kind of en route home to stop by there. And, it's one of those things where it's kind of, I say to my wife, I liken it to like kind of like the barbershop experience where guys go to kind of socialize and a comic show or like street sides. People, you talk about comics, talk about other stuff, sports, whatever. So I picked up this, just throwing the PC. It's a modern comics reprint of Judo Master. I've gotten a few of these. This is an interesting book. It's a book that's been heavily spec'd on. New Agents of Atlas, #1 second print. That was overly spec'd on. There's a ton of 9/8 of the first print on the Census. And then I got issues 22 and 23 of Superman Batman. This is with the kind of sort of Batman Beyond first appearance, but it's really, it's Tim Drake, right? 22 could be submittable. Then the first appearance of Negasonic Teenage Warhead, who looks much different in her first appearance than the movie iteration does. And the power set is much different. But what's interesting about this is it's also a newsstand. Why did I pick this up? It's a pretty sharp copy, and it's Neil Adams, Lois Lane, #87. This also go in the spec box. It's a pretty sharp copy. I have to look again at my notes if this is worth grading. I don't know if it's worth grading right now, but it is Brightest Day, #4. This is the first appearance of Jackson Hyde, the second Aqualad, who, if you're familiar with the Young Justice TV series, he's one of the main characters in there. But so he kind of Harley Quinns it. This is his first appearance in comics. Pick this up, second printing. This actually, the rest of the books came from Ian Jane 75 on Instagram, who was selling with Street Side. He's a good friend of the show. And again, one of those folks, just good to meet up with and talk about stuff. I recently got at an eBay auction fairly cheap. I think the prices dropped even more. Good Asian #1. I got a CGC 9.8. The show, I think it's even past being optioned. I think they might have creators attached to it. So I don't know if it's in development right now. This I just picked up because I thought it was cool. A Neil Adams sketch cover of Green Arrow 48. That'll just go on the PC. Got a spec. Here we got a spec book. Jack of Hearts #1. There were folks that thought we might see him in the She-Hulk TV series because in one of the clips, one of the characters, it might have been Elegila, like you just saw like half of his arm or something on the side of the screen and thought it might look like Jack of Hearts. And Jack of Hearts has had a relationship with She-Hulk in the comics. And then this is another good spec book, Justice League Dark #1. I am fairly bullish on Justice League Dark and the members of Justice League Dark, as you know if you follow the show, because that's a property that's been rumored to be developed for years, and with Swamp Thing being in the first chapter of the DCU, I think that's a natural progression to go. There are a lot of popular characters there. Phantom Stranger, Zatanna, Deadman. I have been picking up copies of Shade the Changing Man #1. So Madame Xanadu, John Constantine, Enchantress. I think even Nightshade has been part of Justice League Dark. But there's a lot of possibilities there, and that's kind of been a rabbit hole I've been going down in terms of my collecting. And some of those first appearances are really hard to get because, like Phantom Stranger, is like a late Golden Age book. Another character who I have a pretty high certainty, just gut feeling, will be coming to the DCU is Detective Chimp. Try to find Detective Chimp's first appearance. Good luck with that one. That's also, it's like from 1952. So anyway, let me know what you think about the pickups. Have you been out hunting? Have you found anything great lately? Hopefully you have. In the meantime, you can take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.